Okay, folks, well, here we are back, and here's my finished little Greenman. Now, you might have noticed he's a little bit different color. What I have done is I have brushed on a mixture of boiled linseed oil, cut about 50% with paint thinner. And I like to do that because it makes my colors flow better and it helps it to keep drying. Now, when you do this, you can paint it right on there. Let it set for about 5 minutes, wipe it up with a towel, and then you can go ahead and wait 30 minutes to an hour and then go ahead and paint it with acrylics. Now you can see right here up in the corner that I've already mixed up the color. This is the base color I'm going to paint the whole figure with first, and it's a primary yellow color. And I've added in just a little bit of dark chocolate brown, and I did that to kind of come up with a mustard color. I thinned my acrylics down quite a bit. I added probably, I don't know, 15 drops of water or so, and you can see as I start to paint this that it's kind of transparent, but it adds the color, but it's still kind of transparent. I don't like to paint anything except for the eyes full strength because I don't want it to look like plastic. I do want it to look like wood. And I'm going to come around here. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint this all the leaves. I'm not going to paint the face, but I'm going to paint all these leaves with this, and then I'll come back over the top of that in a little bit with the green. I started, or I could actually if I wanted to, and I might, who knows, could make a fall man out of this, coming back over it with a reddish brown, or a red and some brown. There's many ways that you could paint this guy. Just depends on whether you want like a spring or a fall green man. Yeah, so here we go. We're kind of painting this in here. I want to make sure I get up in all the little crevices and everything. Now I'm not probably going to do all of this on camera. I'm just kind of giving you an example of what I'm doing, and then I'll probably turn the camera off and go ahead and paint the rest of this so that won't take too long. Hopefully you've had experience with acrylic paints. You can use extender and to thin it down if you wanted to instead of water, but I just use water. And you don't necessarily have to dip it in a bowl of linseed oil first if you don't want to. I just find that it makes it flow a lot easier, and boiled linseed oil will kind of seal the carving just a little bit, when you've cut it down like I did. Okay, so I think right now I will go ahead and get off camera and finish this, and then when I come back we'll start mixing in the green and put the highlights on this thing. So I shall be right back in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. And you can see that I have already started a little bit. And what I did is I took some holly green color, or forest green would work, any of those, and I actually added a little bit of yellow, primary yellow, to it. And then I thinned the heck out of it, really thin. And then now I'm going to come back here and just kind of start painting the edges and kind of around in the middle, just whatever you personally think looks good to you. I'm just going to kind of, and you just come around, and I'm painting the grooves I put in the very bottom of it a little bit. And basically what I'm ended up doing is I'm ended up letting a little bit of the yellow show through in places. Not worrying about it too much, just whatever looks good to you will work. And of course I'm going to go around here and do every bit of it kind of like that. I want my paint to be thin, real thin, and actually not a lot on the brush maybe, although there is there, and then I'll come back in behind here and kind of paint those in. It's almost not really a dry brush technique, but excuse me, don't want a whole lot on the brush. I'll just kind of paint around here a little bit and see if we can make this guy look halfway decent. I'm not the best painter around, but I try hard, if that counts for anything. There we go. I don't know, what do you think? Think that's looking alright? Yeah, we'll see. Just kind of hitting along the edges, and then I'm coming inside a little bit just to kind of show it. And like I said, I'm coming right down the center of the V-tool grooves that we put in here, and you know, leaving some of that yellow showing. Like I said, I want to keep this paint thin, so if it starts thickening up on me, well, I'll just add a little bit more water so that I can kind of keep it the way I want it there. Be careful when you get around the face, naturally, so that you don't paint the face yet. And you also might notice that I painted the eyes white there. Just went ahead and did that off camera, so here in a little bit we will paint the eyes. I'm probably going to come back and emphasize the edges a little more here in a little bit maybe. Okay. I want to get right down in here a little bit so that edge is emphasized. All these dark places as they come around. And along in there. And run the edge there. Kind of feather it out so it doesn't look quite so stark. Very carefully get back in there. Okay, I don't know. What do you think? Think he's looking good? I hope so, but there's really nothing hard about painting like this. Just get your paints thinned down to whatever you like. See, I put in probably, in this case, probably 3 or 4 drops of paint, and golly, I don't know, maybe 20 drops of water. I thinned this down quite a bit, actually. But this is, be honest with you, I don't enjoy painting all that much. But that's part of it, and I never could get my wife to do it. I tried to talk her into it a long time ago. She told me she was not interested, so I had to learn to do it myself. And sometimes I do pretty good, and sometimes I don't think I'm all that great at it. It helps, and I see people, especially women for some reason, that are artists that just do a phenomenal job of painting. The Greenman that Dylan Goodson carved in my class down in Montgomery, boy, he did an excellent job of painting. He's a lot better at it than I am, for sure. And you just kind of paint around until it looks good to you. I don't know that there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. But see, I've got some nice green, and I've got the yellow showing through, which I kind of like. And I'm just continuing to come around and kind of in the corners there, run that bottom. And that makes that vein in that leaf show up a little bit better. Around that bottom. Come around on the edge of the leaf. You'll have to excuse me this morning. I've got a frog in my throat or something this morning. Yep. Okay. So we're just going to continue on around like this. And then I guess I'll go ahead and paint one of the eyes for you and show you how I do that. There's no big magic in it. It just takes a very small brush and a steady hand, really. When I do something this small, especially painting eyes, I usually wear a set of magnifiers. I've got some Bronkenlohm, I don't know how you say that, magnifiers that I wear because my old eyes just don't work quite as good as they used to. So I wear those, and they help me see, and I can do a lot better job painting, especially on something small as eyes. Trying to paint the pupils in those eyes and everything. Now, if you wanted to, you could come back and go over the outside edges again, and darken, just a little bit of that up so it adds a little contrast. But you don't have to. Okay? Just trying to make sure that I've got some yellow showing through. And I'm going to make sure that I come in on these underneath edges and darken them up, make them look good. Like that. So you could just come back and just right on the edges, hit that again, make that a little darker, just right there on the edge, kind of give you a contrast for maybe some of the lighter green areas where it's thinner, and that helps sometimes. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, a little bit right here. Right there. Don't want to lose that separation right in there. Alright. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and just finish these couple of leaves that I've not done here. And then when I come back, we'll attempt to paint these eyes. So he's looking pretty good so far, I believe. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, now I've got him painted and I let him dry a little bit. Now I'm going to paint the eyes, and I've decided to make his eyes kind of green. And what I've done is I took my primary green or forest holly green and I added just a little bit of yellow to it, and I kept it kind of straight. Now I'm not going to be able to get this too close, but now when I paint my eyes, I don't want them to have a 1,000-yard stare. So I don't put them in the middle. I put them to one side or the other, like he's kind of looking off to the side. And you'll notice here I'm painting not a complete round circle, but really a half circle. I'm letting the top of the eye and the bottom of the eye to some extent go back under the eyelid itself. Alright. Now you realize I can't see this very well, but that's okay. Now the hard part, of course, is matching it on the other side. Now I've got just a little bit of white showing, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing here. Let me turn it around here a little bit, very carefully. This takes a steady hand and a small brush. There you go. Now I've kind of done the colored part of his eye, And actually probably not going to do much more than that. Might come back and put a pupil in there. I don't know. Don't know if I will or not. Might just leave him like that and then put a glint in it. If the eye was a little bit bigger, I'd put a pupil and iris. Might even try to put a few of the ray lines. But I think, well, I could make it a little bit bigger and try to do something. By the way, the eyeball in a realistic eye, the colored part of the eye, the iris, pupil, takes up about 1/3 of the eye. So you ought to have as much white showing on each side or to one side as the eye is itself. So this eye is pretty close to being realistic looking. I hate to mess with it much more, or I'll mess it up. And I don't want to do that because I don't have my magnifiers on, so I really can't see it very good. Now I could put very small pupils in there if I wanted to in black, but I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to leave that kind of like that. Now you can come back and outline it with a darker color, and that makes it look good. Or you can come back and do a lot of things. But I think we're going to leave it like that, and I am going to put the little glint in his eye. I'll do that off camera, and I'll probably put a little piece of white right there and right there, and that just makes it look complete. That little bit of a glint looks good. Now I'll let this guy dry for a couple of days because I do see one thing I need to do. Let this guy dry for a couple of days because, you know, I did use the boil linseed oil, and it'll take probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days to dry up. Put that in right there. A little bit to dry up, and then finishing it, well, I could just put a couple more coats of boiled linseed oil on it if I wanted to, or I could spray it with depth lacquer, you know, and that's probably what I will do with it. Or I could use a paste wax on it, just any kind of finish you want to put on one of them, and then make sure you sign it and date it, and it's your own. Now, if you've seen this video, or if you buy this video and you carve one of these, please send me a picture to 3 Crosses Wood Carving at gmail.com, and I'll eventually put up a gallery. I did for the Santa Claus video, and I will for this one too. And if you'll send me a picture of what you came up with, well, I'll post it on the line. I thank you for watching my video, and there's going to be more to come. I think the next one will probably be a Native American. So y'all hang in there. Watch my videos. If you would like me to come to your club or your area to put on a 2 or maybe even a 3-day seminar, well, please contact me at that address at my blog site or at my email address and talk to me about it, and maybe we can work something up. And I would love to come and meet you, to carve with you, and to teach you. Well, this is Gary McDaniel at 3 Crosses Wood Carving saying thank you for following along, and y'all keep on carving.